Good day everyone, I am Raymond Escumera and today I'm gonna answer some questions regarding on the subject database. First is, what do you understand by database? For me, database is just a storage. This is where we store our collection of related data. This data could be a data collected from our application or system that we built. Second, enlist the advantages of DBMS. As we all know, DBMS, known as Database Management System, enable us to define and manage our database, and it has its advantages. The first one is reducing the data redundancy. Now, using DBMS, it helps us to avoid data redundancy wherein we store duplicated data in our database. Second is improved data sharing. With the help of DBMS, we can now easily share data among ourselves, and there are defined users that are authorized to access and share data to others. And the third one is improve data integrity. What this means is that all data stored in our database are correct, accurate, and consistent. And the fourth one is improve data security. DBMS ensures that only defined and authorized users can allow to access the database. And the last one is improves data consistency. DBMS ensures that data stored in the database are consistent and no duplicated copies. Third question, enlist the advantage of SQL. And SQL, structured query language, has its advantages. These are its advantages. First is simple and fast querying processing. Now, SQL performs fast and efficient query considering the large amount of data it's going to write or retrieve. Low learning curve is the second one. SQL is easy to understand and learn. Third one is SQL is an interactive language. SQL can easily interact to the database and gets its query result in a fast and efficient manner. The fourth one is used by major DBMS. Now, SQL is used by major DBMS vendors such as Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL, and SQL Server, etc. And the last one is SQL is an open source. SQL is an open source, which means it's available to everyone, and there is a lot of community who's been using it and sharing it. The next question, what is the purpose of aggregate function in SQL and how might you use them for reporting purposes in a real-world scenario? For me, in SQL, aggregate function is used for analysis and data retrieval. It gives us meaningful insights and insight out of those stored data. Aggregate function can be used to give a summary report. For example, in real-world scenario, if you have an app like student application, a student management application, then you want to know how many students are in a specific class, you can use the aggregate functions as a count. No? Count the number of students in a specific class. Or if you want to get the total amount paid by specific student, then you can use aggregate function like sum. Therefore, it's really useful when you want to get the summary result of a large collection of data. So that's for me. The next question, what are the advantage and disadvantage of views in the database? The advantage of um, views are in SQL. SQL views hides complexity. It hides the complexity of your SQL statements as select. Such a select statement, for example, you have a student table and you have a complex query that selects student which not paid, display the balance up and average grades, and so on. So it's a complex query percent. You don't want your front-end developer to always use those complex query. So in that case, in order for you to hide those complex query and makes it easier to write, you use SQL views, no? Because it hides the complexity of those SQL query. And it also SQL views also acts as a proxy that present our logical table based on the original table from the database. And it also helps improves the data security because it does not present the actual database as well as its names. Does not present the actual database table and its name. The disadvantage of SQL views are it could affect the performance of the application because if the views is much more complex and will done multiple query in different table, no, it could reference multiple table. It takes a lot of time to finish. For example, you have a complex query that join this table and join another table, and so on. So it's very complex, and it and it could take a lot of time because SQL views is generated from the original table. And SQL views also occupies more memory. As I said earlier, it creates a proxy or logical tables out of those original table exist in the database. The next one, define all types of join. Now, as we all know, there are different types of join. Join operator such as inner join, right join, left join, and full join. So inner join one or more table that match values for both table. And left join one or more table which values on the left table match from the right table. And then right join one or more table which values on the right table matches from the left table. And the last one, full join one or more table which values match either from the left table or the right table. The last question, when to use function over stored procedure? So as we all know, both function and stored procedure perform a task. For me, I will use function when I will perform a task that return a specific value or return a value or return something. User-defined function or predefined function is very useful when you use it inside a stored procedure in a select statement or to any SQL statement. It's not just flexible, but it's also promote reusability of your code. And in the other hand, you can use stored procedure when you want to perform transaction or TCL. TCL such as begin, commit, um, save point, rollback. So that's TCL, transaction control language. Unlike function, stored procedure can use TCL and function cannot. And also it's very efficient and productive when you use stored procedure in a transaction, and inside that transaction you use function, and using that function it helps you minimize some of your codes and improves the readability and reduce the complexity when debugging. Basically, I will use Stored procedure when I will perform a task or transaction that doesn't need to return something. And that's all. Thank you.